guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a review of an action thriller from France, French language English subs, released in the year 2011, directed by Eric Valette, and this film is called The Prey. So The Prey is about this well-known bank robber. He is in prison serving out a sentence for armed robbery. He's near the end of his sentence, and this is where he befriends a guy who was wrongly convicted of being a pedophile. So this guy's been a marked man. The other prisoners want to hurt him badly, and this robber, he takes a liking to him and he ends up protecting him. So this guy who'd been wrongly convicted, he says that he's been released because the person that was supposedly a witness against his crime had told them that it was all made up. So he's going to get an early release, and because that this bank robber helped him, that he's going to help him. So he's going to take care of his family while he is still in jail. But it actually turns out that this wrongly convicted pedophile, he might not be so innocent after all, and now this guy knows where his family are and has put them in grave danger. So now this guy has to come to terms with what's just happened, and he has to break out of this prison and he has to try and save the day. But whether or not he's too late for that is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on The Prey. Apart from fairly good acting and a really good villain, this movie really wasn't that memorable. Now, it does have some pretty good action scenes. I actually thought there was one action scene that took place on a highway that was really thrilling. I thought it was really well done. And that was very early on in the film. But after that, nothing really stands out as being terribly memorable. Now, I do have problems with the film. I will go in through the positives first. I thought the acting from Albert Dupontel, he is a fantastic actor, and once again he has a lot of fun in this character. It's not really a character that you care for, which is ultimately a problem that I'll go in a little bit later, but I thought that it's always good to see him on screen. If you're familiar with French cinema, you know who Albert Dupontel is. He was in Irreversible, the guy who was doing the face smashing. So, it's good to see him in a film. But unfortunately, it actually felt like he was a little bit bored in this movie, and it didn't really... It felt like he just wasn't interested, that he was there for the money, and he really wasn't playing a character that he could really utilise his talent. And he's got so much talent, but this movie just feels like he's just reining it in a little bit for the sake of it. So, the cinematography was good, as I said. Choreography of the action sequences was brilliant, and I thought the villain was great. Now, this guy who says that he'd been wrongly convicted, you get a liking to this guy, you think that he's very gentle, but when you start to learn more about him, it starts to get really creepy, and I thought the scenes with him in it were really creepy, but unfortunately he wasn't in it enough, and I thought that creepiness that surrounded his character was non-existent with every other character, and I felt that, in some instances it really worked, in other instances it didn't, so it really was an inconsistent film. The cinematography, apart from the action choreography, I thought it was very well shot. Some of the camera angles were quite decent, and I just thought that as far as action is concerned, when the action is actually taking place, it is fairly decent. But unfortunately for me, there is a lot of unrealistic qualities in this film. You do have to have a very strong suspension of disbelief. It is a movie that you're constantly asking questions as to how the hell did this happen, and that some of the characters and how this main character gets out, especially when he escapes the prison, you think to yourself, how the hell did that happen? It was so quick, and it felt like it was just convenient for the film. And that, unfortunately, just not at the prison scene isn't the only scene where you're constantly thinking, well, how the hell did that happen? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? And it starts to frustrate you a lot more, and it doesn't really let you enjoy the film as much as the director wants you to. So I really didn't like that aspect of it. There's a lot of unrealistic moments in the film that constantly have you asking questions, and you can't help but feel it's just convenient for the plot, and it's just convenient for the progression of the film, and that's something I didn't like. So I also didn't like the fact that there are action sequences, and there are some fairly good ones, but in between there's a lot of talking, and you don't really care about the story. You don't care about this bank robber and whether or not he saves the day. And yes, it was well acted by Albert Dupontel, but it felt like a cardboard cutout. It felt like a movie that was there solely for action scenes, but there weren't enough action scenes to really captivate you because there was too much talking. And because the characters weren't that interesting apart from the villain, you just don't care how it unfolds. So you're impatiently waiting for the next action scene. And when that happens, it goes into another lull of talking, and just unnecessary, it's very forgettable qualities that the film has. That by the end of it, you think to yourself, well, it's an action film that had good action sequences, but not enough of them, and therefore it was quite a disappointment. So, as far as French cinema is concerned, The Prey is definitely not one of the more memorable ones, and as a result of that, I'm only going to give it 2.5 stars. Alright guys, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.